You know the stories about cringy, controlling, or railroading DMs? Have you ever wanted to hear about a time when somebody just puts them in their place with expert strategy and a dash of luck? I'll warn you, the end result isn't as pretty as you might hope. Just before we delve in, a quick thank you to Ghostfire Games for sponsoring this video. Fables is a subscription-based service that will give members access to one episodic adventure per month. The story is divided into 6 episodes and takes place in the Astoyan Empire, a realm of eternal night where the sun is vanished from the sky and vampires rule the land with an iron fist. The characters tumble into this adventure because within their souls are sparks of sunlight, mysterious fragments of divine power desired by a power-hungry lich. Members of Fables will have access to a monthly release of a PDF, tokens, maps, and each fable will consist of 6 episodes, each a new story in the adventure belonging to that fable. Now, cultured listeners will recognize the words Astoyan Empire. Well, it is true, it was made by Ghostfire Games, the same team behind Grim Hollow, and the first ever Grim Hollow adventure, Citadel of the Unseen Sun, will make its debut alongside the Fables line on January 1st, 2022. Check it out at the link provided in the description. See ya. Anyways, that aside, roll post. I come with a story that's really fresh and really hurts me. Well, if you read the title, you already know that, but it's not only physically, but emotionally as well. This whole story revolves around a really old friendship which went sour a long time ago and ended a week ago. Also, I have to mention that everyone in this story knows each other. It was, a really close circle of friends, but the story is really self-explanatory, so everything's gonna be clear by the end of it. So, 2 months ago, a friend of mine, GM, who we used to be best friends with, asked me if I'd like to join his new homebrew campaign. He said that we rarely talk nowadays. Yeah, mostly because he ignored me when it was too inconvenient for him to hang out with us. So we should rekindle our friendship. And D&D is a perfect tool for this. I agreed, and after a few messages and chat, we had our party and we were ready to meet up for the first session. Yeah, I know how much our Crab Lord tells us that we should have a session 0, but we knew each other and had other campaigns, so I guess it wasn't really necessary. But you know as well as I that things are about to get real ugly, so this best case scenario appears further and further out of sight. Roll post. She is my new GF. She's gonna be co-GMing for the campaign, said the GM. Sounds nice. Does she have any experience with D&D or any other TTRPGs, I asked. No, she doesn't, but she is very creative. You'll see, the story is gonna be a blast, he replied. So far so good, right? I mean, there is a hint of simping and cringe in the story, but since every one of us was so starved for some D&D, we didn't even bother. Oh, and she's gonna join you in your group as well, said the GM. Wait, what? Wasn't she the one you made the campaign with? It seems she already knows the story, the twists, and everything else. Don't worry, that doesn't bother her, the GM says. It really didn't go through what I was trying to say. Yup, Crabs, there it is in 4K, the DM PC caught in the wild. The DM is coming in strong, with the first DM provided red flag being the big, the bad, and the boring DM PC. Why tell the party she's been colluding with the DM if she's gonna be in the party at all? We may never know, but I suspect that won't be the most twisted and confusing part of this story. Roll post. What I mean is that she knows the whole story already. It's the same as you, the GM, making a character to stick with the party. We argued about this for a few minutes, and he told me that, quote, it won't be like that, and you know me, I wouldn't let the campaign go boring by that. At the end, I gave up and said, okay, I trust you here, but I gave him the benefit of the doubt. Our characters started the campaign on a ship, which would take us to a newly discovered island. Each of us went there for our own reason. My character was kind of an inquisitor, lawful evil for a tyrant god, raised by the priests as an orphan with only a little brother as a relative. I had to eliminate a young girl since she stole an artifact from one of our cathedrals, but I only had a picture of her. I purposefully left some details out, like who the girl is, where did she come from, etc., to give the GM some room to work with. I mention this because it's going to be important later. So each of us wanted to reach that island ASAP, but we ran into a thick fog and a half-sunken wreck which carried some survivors. On our ship there was a paladin from a global enforcer order who used his authority to stop our ship and save the crew. Of course, our characters would help so we could depart sooner. This moment was literally 20 minutes into the campaign, when GM's girlfriend, I don't remember her character's name, so let's call her Sorceress, said, "Oh, you might want to watch over that paladin. I made a crazy plot twist around him." I couldn't believe my eardrums. 20 minutes into the campaign and GM words backfires him already. I told them with Freya that it was really uncool to spoil things like that, and their answer was, "You can't guess it anyways, so what's the ruckus about?" Okay, I let that go and tried to focus on the game. We rescued the sailors, and they said that they had an artifact on board which made everyone crazy and told us to destroy it since it won't let us free from the fog until we kill each other. We boarded the ship and started to investigate. Me, Nira, and Blackbeak looked around the main deck while Ash and Freya started to investigate the cabins. And Sorceress? Yeah, you guessed it. She took every important clue and equipment and rushed to the artifact, carefully avoiding every trap set. Not gonna lie, I was annoyed. We meet up at the artifact since we had nothing else to do, and what a surprise! We really should have paid some attention to the paladin, who turned out to be some kind of demon in disguise and cursed us with the power of the artifact. Plot twist. Woohoo. Anyway, we found that the real paladin killed on the ship went to the island and started to find a way to lift our curse. Oh boy, it just keeps getting worse. I just love the fact that this is literally just an NPC but worse. All of the in-game knowledge but none of the temperance of the DM. The only question that jumps out to me is if the DM is aware of, or cares at all, how much she is just giving away and ruining. The party is meant to uncover these secrets themselves. It's the fun of the mystery. To have somebody who already knows everything speedrun through it all perfectly sticks the party in a weird, inconsequential number 2 position, which is not fun at all. My head is buzzing into sheer numbness by the absolute stupidity of the DM displayed, but I suspect it somehow gets worse. Roll post. Next session rolls in, nothing worthy to mention, some plot-related things and exploring, which, again, was spoiled by Sorceress, who promised us that she was gonna control herself next time. Oh, so she knows exactly what she's doing. She wasn't. I was starting to get used to this boring session, and don't throw rocks at me, but I tried to derail the campaign a few times just to get a hint of excitement. Yeah, it wasn't nice of me. And we get to the 5th session, hooray, which was in utter chaos. The party found a way to lift the curse by a maiden who was chosen by the light, or something, and it turned out that she was my target. Now, that's a nice plot twist which wasn't spoiled, I thought to myself. But then again, this build-up was ruined. We went to the maiden, and my character was ready for some serious development when the GM told me, "She looked into your eyes and says, 'Big bro, are you alive?' What? My character doesn't have a sister. He doesn't know about her because of his amnesia." "Brilliant, right?" asks the Sorceress. "No, it's not. He didn't have amnesia and he doesn't have a sister." "But it's a major plot point. You should feel thankful," she said. Okay, what the actual fuckery? She alters my character and then I should feel thankful to be in the spotlight? I don't know what went through her head, but I didn't take it. I don't care. My character didn't have amnesia and he doesn't have a sister. We argued about this, and everyone else, except for Ash, he likes to avoid conflicts, which is perfectly fine, agreed with me that I left enough space for their creativity to do something with my character, but they ultimately altered it. She finally said, with the most annoyed voice this universe can handle, "Okay, whatever, now I can rewrite a whole section of the story, thanks a lot." We ended the session there, and now we arrive at the 6th and last session, which didn't last long. We arrived, sat down at the table, and Sorceress and the GM said that since I didn't want the spotlight, Sorceress gets it, and she is her little sister. I thought to myself, one more reason to kill her. I know it's not the most positive mentality, but I just wanted a little bit of revenge. She sent us on some mission we got back, she lifted the curse, and she would send us to another mission when my character drew his weapons and told the maiden that she can either come with him as a hostage or he has to finish her. You can't do that, she just lifted the curse, you're lawful evil, dude, said the GM. Yes, I follow the orders of my church, and I didn't even make a promise to not deal with her. But what about the guards? They're everywhere. You told me we are at the chapel, far from the main building, and you said she sits on her altar alone as always, so I sure can deal with her. I won't let you. I stand between you and her, said Sorceress with a passion that now she can defeat me and show everyone how cool and righteous she is. Okay, said the GM with that typical grin of his. So she starts with a surprise attack, so she has advantage. Why would she? She's right in front of me. Yeah, but she's a changeling and made herself look like the maiden so to confuse you. First, don't play instead of her. It's annoying. Second, that's not how surprise attack works. If I would be a flippin' boulder with -3 intelligence stat, I wouldn't fall for that either. The GM's always right, he said. I was pissed. Not regular pissed, like advanced pissed. So be it, I told him. The others didn't want to interfere since they all wanted Sorceress to be beaten because her character was so buffed, caused by heavy plot armor and almost every loot we found, that even if she wouldn't know about every challenge ahead of us, she could manage just fine. Yet again, I was way more experienced than her, and ultimately her plot shield and her shit ton of loot wasn't enough, and there she was defeated, crying out of character. GM was ready to kill me with his glare, but proceeded anyway. Isn't it obvious? Gonna fulfill my job as an Inquisitor. I mean, that is, if no one else wants to challenge me. The tension was high in the room. Freya, as a lawful good character, wouldn't let it happen, but she was so annoyed of Sorceress, GM, and the bullshit factory they created that she told me her principles aren't opposed to my actions. So I went up to the maiden and took her as a hostage, and we arrived up to the moment you've all been looking for. The last roll of the session. I knew that GM wouldn't let me go easily, so he made me do a stealth check. And we all know that karma and the gods of the dice exist. I rolled a nat 20 and asked the GM offhanded, "Do I succeed?" He didn't tell me anything. Just got up, walked to me, and bashed my nose into my skull. He didn't knock me unconscious, but I sat down in surprise. Blackbeak and Nira started to shout with him that, "What is he doing? He lost his mind." I wiped the blood under my nose, got up and left without saying a word. He tried to contact me through every possible way to apologize, even through Ash since I blocked him from everywhere, but I don't want to hear from him ever again. Pause post. I had feelings about the PvP, I'm not gonna lie, but just when I was gonna commentate on the player attacking the other player, we get DMVP in real life. Both an incredibly immature and criminal way to handle such a minor slight. I don't care at this point what the details of their recent falling out were. The guy who freaks out and hurls a fist into the face of a player over a dice roll is not a chill dude. To add to the unnecessity of the situation, nat 20s aren't even guaranteed successes on skill checks. He could have just said it didn't work and have been completely within the rules. Anyways, this has been your dose of crab-flavored pain. If you want more, just click the funny boxes to the right. See you around.